Anything that is formula based to me was just simple, right? Because all it is understanding the formula and then plugging numbers into the formulas. Everybody understand me on that, right? So if you know the formula, then you can do the problems. Now, I need to tell you the time that you do law of sines and the time you do law of cosines is when first you don't have a right triangle. So these are not four right triangles, although you can typically, but you just wouldn't because it's easier to use the Sakatoa method. But law of cosines, and everybody to put on the top of their paper, you're going to use that when you have all three sides known. When you have all three sides known, you can calculate the missing angles. All right. And when you have a side angle side, all right, you can calculate the rest of the measures. All right, that's when you use law of cosines. Law of sines is used, remember, when you have an opposite side with an opposite angle, opposite side and opposite angle. All right, that's when you know you have law of sine. All right, which is all we had yesterday. We identified an angle, then that angle, once you identify the opposite side, you would be given, then that would key you in that you have to do the law of sines. All right, now down here, all right, we are going to find, notice it says solve each triangle, all right, which means we're going to come up with all of the different missing sides and angles. All right, notice here, this is a what? Side, angle, side. So I know I'm going to use law of cosines. Now listen to my other remark. Notice here, this angle and this side are related. Does everybody agree? We can't use law of sine because I don't know what that side is. Agreed? Or if I look at this side right here, I don't know this angle, so I can't use law of sines. Then the next thing would be to highlight this side is related to this angle. Notice there's not a side and an opposite angle related. So you cannot use what? You cannot use law of sines. You must use law of cosines. All right. Now what I tell my kids is this. I tell them that the angle and the opposite side go on the outside of the formula. Notice here, side A is outside angle A, B is outside here, and C is on the outside of the formula. Is everybody with me on that? That's how you just learn to set it up. Now, what was annoying to me was they would tell me about A, B, and C, and then they'd give me triangle what? X, Y, Z. Then I was like, oh, how does that fit in? The letters are different. So none of this really actually matters. None of this matters. That's the only formula you should be thinking of. And I don't care what the letters are of the triangle. The only thing I care about is the angle and the opposite side always go on the outside of the formula. So in this case, C and C are on the outside of the formula. Is everybody with me on that? All right. So in this case, we just write it out. C squared. Come on, write this down. Now, I used to say C squared is equal to the Pythagorean theorem. So then it would be A squared plus B squared. Then it's minus 2, and then multiply A times B, and then it's cosine C. And to me, you should write it over and over because I'm expecting you to know it. All right. I'm expecting you to know it for the test. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2ABC cosine C. Now it's just a matter of plugging them in. So C squared equals 4 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 4 times 9 times cosine of 128. That's all there is to it. Now, everybody take out your handy dandy calculator and you literally type in 4 squared plus, type the whole thing in. right? All at once, and then hit equal. And then I want someone to tell me C squared is equal to what? 141 point what? 327. I'm not interested in C squared. I'm interested in what? C. So C is the square root of that number. And then we would say C is roughly how much? Okay, come on. We're not messing around. All right, it's too much on the line here. 11.888 is C. Is everybody happy with that explanation? You're supposed to have that on your calculator. That's what you're supposed to have. All right, that means you can do it. All right, if you don't have it on your calculator, that means you don't know how to do it. Now, what formula is easier, the law of sines or the law of cosines? Law of sines, right? So now, do we have an angle and an opposite side known?
Yeah.
So now we can jump into what? Law of sine, because it's easier. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to step up and you're going to say sine B over what? 4 equals sine of 128 over the answer. All right, now why did I put answer? Because I want you to use the answer that's on your calculator. All right, now, come on now. Just take your calculator in your hands. Please take the calculator in your hand and listen how you should be doing this. 4 times sine 128. Now, do you notice on sine comes up, the parentheses comes up, right? So you have to do what? Close parentheses is going to be wrong. Close the parentheses, divided by. Now, are you going to type in 11.888? No, you can hit second answer, or you can just hit the up arrow and hit it to that number, 11.888, whatever, and hit enter.
What's the answer button?
The answer button is under the equal, if I'm not mistaken, or under the negative.
Oh.
Right? But really, you don't have to use that. You just have to click your arrow button up and it'll go take you to that. So then it has sine of B is equal to approximately what? 0.26 what? 5. And now we just do what? Inverse sine. B is equal to inverse sine of that answer. And then that was equal to how many degrees? 15 point what? 367 or 366, whatever you choose. All right. So that's angle B. Is everybody agreeing with that? So now that we find angle B, to calculate angle A, I would just do what? What do I do? Subtract it from 180. Take that answer on your calculator, add 128. Now, I always just used to do minus 180 and know that the answer is not going to be the negative. It's just going to be the positive. All right. Or you can do 180 minus the answer, whatever. So then angle A was how much? 36 point what? 36.633. I'm happy. You add up the two angles, 128 plus 15.367, and then do 180 minus that answer, because the angles of a triangle add up to 180. You with me on this? All right, now on question number 2. What is this? Law of sines. All right, you have to know the difference. How do I know it's law of sines? Because this is given. All right, this is given. All right, so let's set this up real quick. Sine of what? 25 over 8 equals sine of A over equals sine of B over B. Come on, please. Right now, cross multiply, divide, inverse sine. All right, let's go. Come on, everybody. Don't take my word for it. Get out your calculator. All right. Once you set up the proportion, you should be able to do it right on your calculator. Come on. After you cross, multiply, and divide, sine of A is equal to what decimal? 0.950. So what do we come up with A? Shh, come on. What is A? I'm listening.
No, I got something else. 71.
So 18 sine 25. Come on, type that in. 18 sine 25, close parentheses, divided by 8.
That's not good. I guess.
Come on, that's what I'm saying. User error.
Yeah.
And so now A is roughly how many degrees, guys? 71 point. All right, now depending upon how you rounded, it could be off a little bit. All right, that's why I say everybody should use the numbers in the calculator and we should all have the same answer. All right. What?
I'm not sure how you got there.
I don't understand what the question is.
I'm not. I don't know.
You're just because you're writing things down instead of doing it on the calculator.
I tried to do everything.
What did you do?
I did line 25 divided by 8.
And then? I don't understand. You see it as a proportion. Why don't you just cross multiply?
Okay.
Cross multiply. What are you doing?
Right.
Tell me. Take your calculator in your. Come on, cross multiply like everybody else. What are we doing? They might be wrong. Listen, I don't have time to wait on you. I'm asking you, tell me in words, how do you get sine of A? What are we doing?
Cross multiply.
And how do I cross multiply? What am I multiplying?
8 and sine of A and 18 and sine of 25.
And then what?
And then you set them equal to each other.
And then what?
You divide them on the calculator.
What do you divide? Look, what I'm trying to tell you is, come on, stop and listen. You are supposed to be able to tell me at this stage of the game, because we've been doing this, is you multiply these two things together and you divide by 8.
Okay.
That's what you're supposed to be able to do. So now quickly, 18 on your calculator, quickly, 18 sine 25 divided by 8.
Okay.
And then what?
And then
Inverse sine.
okay.
Inverse sine. Now that we have A is 71.805. What is B? How much?
83.031.
83 point what? 801?
0.3.
Sorry, 031. All right, and now once you set that up, all right, find out what B is. So it'd be sine of 83.031 over B equals sine of 25 over 8. And what do we come up with B? What do we get for B?
83.031.
No, side B.
18.7.
18 point. Anybody else get 18.790? What, Tanner?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm puzzled by some of you don't have your calculators in your hand. Do you have a calculator? So why don't you tell me? Come on, you're not allowed to sit there. All right. How are you going to do the math? How are you going to do the work? Come on, girl. You're smart enough to ask me for a calculator. I don't care. All right, let's move on. All right, everybody draw number 3. A, B, and C. 6, 4, and 3. Okay, this is something now you got to pay attention to. All right, everybody's got to listen to me. Always, make this in your note. Always find the largest angle when all 3 sides are given. Always find the largest angle when all 3 sides are given. So which one's the largest angle here? B, right? So what goes on the outside of the formula? B squared equals. Now it's going to be A squared plus what? C squared minus 2 times AC times cosine B. That's the formula now. Does everybody see how I did that, right? I recognize I was looking for B and B. That goes on the outside of the formula. All right. Anybody have any questions with that? What? Sebastian, you have a question or you just...
Yeah, so like, how do you know, like, when to put A, B, or AC?
I just told you. What is this note right here?
Always find the largest angle.
Always find the largest angle when all 3 sides are given.
So like, are the AC like the 2 smaller angles?
Yes. All right. When you take your pre-calculus class, they will explain to you why. All right. But here we go. What is B?
Yes.
Okay, guys, I want everybody to write down 6 squared equals 4 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 4 times 3 cosine what? Cosine, after the cosine comes the what? The angle, right? We don't know the angle, so it's cosine B. Now, everybody's got to stop and listen for a second. All right, because this was always annoying to me, how people do not understand order of operation. Please watch. I'm expecting everybody to be able to do this. Please look. 6 squared minus 4 squared minus 3 squared divided by -2 times 4 times 3 equals cosine B. Most people cannot do that. I don't understand that. Everybody see how I solved for cosine B? I solved for cosine B. To solve for cosine B, I'm moving this over. It's not a time to not listen, and move this over. Right? Does everybody agree? Then I had to divide by this entire what? That entire quantity. All right, now for me, it's nice on your calculator because you can hit the alpha X and the fraction will come up. Is everybody with me? Do that. And now type in. Do I really have to type in 6 squared? No, hopefully you're just typing in 36 minus 16 minus 9 over -24 equals. That gives you cosine B is approximately what? Negative what?
11/24.
No. Well, I know, but I need, okay, we can do that. Negative 11 over 24. And then I just do what? Inverse cosine of that. And that's how many degrees? What?
62.72. That 117.
It's not, I don't know. That's not correct. What is it again, Liam? 117.279. All right, I don't care. Again, I don't care. All right, now here's what I'm asking. You got to type that in the calculator. Make sure you're getting the practice on that. Make sure you understand what I'm saying. So now I have what? No, I can't. The reason why I can't say it is because it's right in front of your face. It's right here. That's why I was saying you weren't listening to me. It's right there on the board. All right, now listen one more time. Aiden, you ready?
Yeah.
Watch me. All right, get rid of this, get that out of the way. Get this out of the way. Listen, everyone should be able to look at that and just say that's an equation. I'm moving the 4 squared over. How would I move the 4 squared over? How would I move that? Then how do I get rid of that? That's it. You know that. That's honestly like this. It's like 4 equals 5 plus 3x. How do I solve that? And then it looks more complicated, but it's not. You with me on that?
Yeah.
All right. So now that we know what B is, I can put 117.279 here. Now, how do I figure out what C is? Sine of C over 3 equals sine of 117.279 all over 6. Cross multiply, divide, inverse sine that, and tell me what C equals. $26 point what? All right. And now I need to figure out what angle A is. So how do I calculate what angle A is?
You could just subtract from 180.
Subtract from 180. Thank you very much. Add them up, subtract from 180. Come on, I'm really trying to teach you how to use your calculators efficiently. And some of you guys, if you're not doing it on the calculator, writing down my work is not helpful. It's just not. All right, what is angle A? 36 point what? About 36.337. Close enough? Anybody unsure? Aiden, you okay with this now?
Yeah.
All right, let's find something else. Wow, there's a lot of work here. All right, so let's go down to question number 5. We go down to question number 5. Draw it out for me real quick. Doesn't matter, just put A, B, C. 60 degrees. C is 17. B is 12. So what side am I looking for, guys? A. I'm looking for A.
Yeah, you mixed.
What are you telling me?
12 and 17.
12 goes where? Oh, yeah. You're right. Thank you, guys. So opposite the C is 17. Opposite the B is 12. Good job. All right. I'm happy with that. All right. So now what side do we need to find? A. So where does A go? on the outside of the formula. A goes on the outside of the formula. So now I can write it. A squared equals the Pythagorean theorem, B squared plus C squared. Now it's always minus 2, whatever the ones B, C, that's right. And then cosine what? Cosine A. Please take the time, write the substitution, and then use your calculator. So A squared is equal to 12 squared plus 17 squared minus 2 times 12 times 17 times cosine of 60. Type that in quickly. And A squared is roughly how much? A squared. 229 exactly?
Yeah.
Okay. So A squared is 229. Now the question is, did you get that? If you got that, you know how to do it. If you didn't get it, let me know. It's embarrassing not to be able to plug numbers into formulas.
Like, I got the answer, but like, how do you, like, what if it's side, how do you know which cosine to do?
Largest angle first. Largest angle first. All right. So square root both sides. So A is roughly how much?
15.1.
Good. 15.133. Okay. Now, listen, guys, listen, please. Now, on your test, I'm not gonna, the test, if I ask you to solve a triangle, it might take 5 or 7 minutes, so we don't have time. You with me? Because we have 6 other sections to do. Is everybody with me? So what you're gonna have to do is you're just gonna have to find an angle and a side. Does everybody hear me? All right. Everybody's good with this information? Right. So on number 6, let's just say this was the test. You're going to look at that, and I'm going to say, find angle A. Find angle A. All right, so your job right now is to calculate angle A. Now, the first thing I want you to do is write out the formula, and then you're smart enough to work backwards, where all you need, once you write it down, is that us? All right. Once you write it down, all you have to do is work backwards on the calculator. That's it. All right. Now, depending upon how much you understand, right, that's how much work you have over the weekend. All right. If you're feeling pretty good about this, that's fine. Because we had 3 or 4 kids absent on today, when we come back on Tuesday, I'll make a quick overview and then I'll hand out your review. All right. With that, guys, good job. Don't stress it. I'm saying just make sure you know how to use your calculator. All right, critical. All right.